Okay, so there's no doubt in my mind that Kawaki is obviously strong, but recently in Boruto Two Blue Vortex Chapter 4, I mean, there are some new characters that have just emerged, and if you haven't seen already, these new characters are quite powerful. The Ten Tails, due to something Code did, made the Ten Tails sentient, and now they're able to think for themselves, and they have Renegons and are extremely powerful. And these Ten Tails are slowly gaining knowledge, and as they get smarter and smarter, their intellect will increase and they will continue to hunt for Kawaki as well as Boruto. Now, the reason why this isn't so important is we've seen Kawaki in the first 1 or 2 chapters of Boruto Two Blue Vortex, and it seems like Kawaki may be having some issues handling some of these new enemies. In Boruto Two Blue Vortex Chapter 2, we see Kawaki fighting some of these Claw Grimes, and there was a Claw Grime who attacked him and popped out of another claw mark and managed to catch him off guard, whispering the words Otsutsuki. Now, this is very important because we've never really seen Kawaki get caught off guard this bad and pinned down to the ground like that. At this point in the story, Kawaki has basically all of Ishiki's dojutsu fully evolved and really shouldn't be having an issue with these Claw Grimes, which is an issue, right? Because these new enemies, these Shinju that evolved from the Ten Tails, are just an advanced version of the Claw Grime. If Kawaki's getting attacked by these Claw Grimes with just a Renegon, how is he going to fare up against these Shinju who are even smarter, can think for themselves, and can coordinate with the other Claw Grimes efficiently? And I'm not trying to power scale Kawaki or do any of that. I'm more so just talking about how he's been developing over time, right? Because if you compare him to Boruto and how Boruto's been fighting, Boruto has not been focusing on his karma still. He's been focusing on his arsenal techniques and becoming a better fighter, being a better ninja. Kawaki doesn't care about being a ninja, doesn't care about any of that. He's focusing on raw power. He's focusing on how can he utilize the karma efficiently and how can he utilize his new dojutsu to overpower his enemies, which is not a bad thing. My only issue with that is I feel like Kawaki, when he fights, he's just too reliant on karma. It's like a drug for him. He just overdoses on that thing whenever he's fighting and he uses it way too much. The thing with Kawaki is the more you use something and the more you become reliant on it, if that thing doesn't work out, what is he gonna do, right? Kawaki has always been a fighter who hasn't been too keen on ninjutsu and has always been more hand-to-hand combat. So it doesn't really surprise me that Kawaki is utilizing the karma so more and utilizing his dojutsu abilities, because that's all he's ever known, right? Being so young and being trained by Jigen, he sort of fights like Jigen / Ishiki as well, right? Jigen, hand-to-hand combat, was really giving Naruto and Sasuke the hands. Kawaki is kind of doing the same thing, hand-to-hand combat, and doesn't really deviate from that. That's just, kind of the main reason to why he even uses this technique in the first place. And I can see it being a issue moving forward as he continues to fight these new enemies. I mean, these new enemies seem to be extremely fast and strong, so I'm not sure if he's going to be able to rely on just these hand-to-hand abilities and these Karma Seal and Otsutsuki powers, but maybe he will. The main thing is he's just kind of missing those fundamentals that ninjas have, like how Boruto is developing his techniques and developing his skill set and sort of becoming a better ninja in terms of Kenjutsu. Kawaki doesn't really have that, so that's kind of the one downside that I have for him. Also, I just feel like some of Kawaki's goals just are a little bit over the top and maybe clouding Kawaki's judgment a little bit and clouding how he goes about certain situations. Kawaki, first of all, treats the word Otsutsuki like a slur. He hates being called that, and it really pisses him off. So Sarada mentioned something in Boruto Two Blue Vortex Chapter 4, and she was like, you're always talking about taking down these Otsutsuki, hunting these Otsutsuki, but aren't you an Otsutsuki yourself? Like, isn't this some sort of weird high ground that you hold yourself on? And it's really interesting because, yes, that is true. He is an Otsutsuki himself, but he claims that I'm just using these powers to get rid of the Otsutsuki, and then after that, I'm kind of done. Which brings to the point of, do these goals even make sense? So you're telling me at this point in time, Kawaki's goals are to get rid of all the Otsutsuki, but we really know the only Otsutsuki he's chasing after is Boruto. So that doesn't seem like he's really telling the truth. He just wants to get rid of Boruto, and after that he's just gonna stop doing what he's doing. That doesn't really hold well for the rest of the story. I mean, is he just gonna stop at Boruto, or is Kawaki more so waiting for more Otsutsuki to arrive and know something that we don't know? It's very interesting to see how Kawaki's goals have developed over time and did like a complete 180 before the time skip happened, and he just turned to wanting to destroy every single Otsutsuki that is there. And with these new enemies, it's even more interesting because while Kawaki does want to destroy all the Otsutsuki, and that includes Boruto, he can't let that happen. If Boruto, by any chance, ends up in the hands of the Shinju, which would most likely not happen to him being the main character, but if there's any scenario to where Boruto was captured by them and was about to be fed to the Divine Tree, it would be in Kawaki's best interest to help Boruto out, because one, if the Divine Tree is planted and Boruto is fed to the Ten Tails, that's going to be catastrophic. And two, Code also benefits from Boruto or Kawaki being fed to the Ten Tails as well. So I do think that while Kawaki's goals are very narrow in nature, they also kind of work against him now with these new enemies that got introduced. And will Kawaki's sort of selfishness blind him as he's moving forward in the story? I just think that his goals right now are very naive, and that his character hasn't really changed much just because of the new environment he's been placed in. He's supposed to act like he is this person he's not, and I wonder if it's going to go from I want to kill all the Otsutsuki to maybe the ninja world shouldn't exist anymore, and maybe we see that drastic path that Kawaki goes on as events start to unfold in the story. But anyways, let me know what you guys think. Do you think that Kawaki's fighting abilities and his motives for things are going to change, or do you think he's going to be kind of stuck in his ways for now and he'll eventually at some point in the story decide that he wants to do another 180 and flip to destroy the Hidden Leaf Village or the ninja world? Anyways, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and join the Discord, and I will see you guys later. Peace.